Hello everyone out there. You're welcome to your favorite podcast show here, and it's called TIT4TAT with your favorite host here, KB. Kabir Aziz, but you can call me KB. So I'm not here alone today. You can see, we're not here with a full panel and all that. Well, it's okay. It's because we caught a big fish today. Like the Yorubas will always say, a janla. So we caught the big fish from the ocean itself, and then we have the very best we can ever have for this kind of conversation we're having here, in the person of Mr. Mark the Lion. Please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Yeah, welcome everyone. So my name is Mark the Lion, and I run an institution called Lionsgate. And I like to believe I'm the lion at that very gate.
Okay.
And the centrality of what we do as an institution is to resolve all things. Resolving means being able to comprehend or understand the core underbelly of every situation. It doesn't matter how it presents itself. So by resolving it, you get to the core of what is the driver of life, or everything that pertains to life. Like, we do a lot of teachings, we do trainings, I speak, I motivate, I empower, and most of our programs that we run is all designated to get people to be able to not only understand life as it is, the things they are called to do, the assignments that are before them, and how to be able to manage their life exceptionally well and produce and maximize their existence. So I like to, because when people ask me, what exactly are you, or what do you do? I like to just say I resolve all things, because resolving really has to do with breaking everything down to its minutest understanding. And from there, you can be able to bring changes and make the decisions that are qualitative to bring you to a place of relevance in life.
Boom. Now you can see we have the right person here for the job today, right? And okay, cool. So the topic we're treating today here, power of information, or power and information. To break it down though, because we all know everyone from in one way or the other must have heard the word power.
Yes.
And the other ones must have heard information.
Yes.
So now to break it down now, to you, what is power? Power as it sounds. How do you then explain power? Break it down so that people who are following can really understand what power is.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to start by defining everything. Okay. And I'll make it as simple as possible, because there's a complexity to every conversation.
Perfect.
Number one, there is a common saying wherein we say knowledge is power. But you have to understand that knowledge in itself is not power. Knowledge is the source of light. That's what it is. And what does that source of light do for you? That light brings you to a place of enlightenment, wherein you are developed, because light develops. Remember, in the days of the photograph, we used to develop, we take pictures in the light, then we go into the dark to develop it.
And by using the film.
Yeah, using the film. They call
that place dark room.
Yes, the dark room. Okay. So we control the light, we use some type of red type of light and all that, so that it doesn't contaminate or compromise the film. Then eventually we develop it. Then we are not able to see it in the light, because without light you can't actually appreciate or see the colors or the tonality of things. So light in itself develops. But information, it's not light. Information is data. And data is designated to give you an endowment through which you are able to make decisions based on that information that is presented for you. For example, if I tell you something, I immediately present you with an option to make a decision. That decision will be regulated by the information you have. For example, if you are seated here and there is a bag on the floor, and I tell you, look at that bag over there. And you look at it, I said, do you know there is $100,000 sitting in that bag? And while you are here, please, I want you to look after it, because I'll be back in 10 minutes. What have I just done? I have provided information to cause you to change your posture so that you can be responsible and be responsive for that bag that is there. Now, if that bag is not really containing dollars, what I have done is that I've misled you
with the wrong information.
with the wrong information. And by misleading you with that wrong information, I'm able to regulate and control you. Or place you in a position where the decision I want you to make has to be in line with the output or the outcome I'm looking for. So information in itself is power, and power is the instrument of influence and control.
So wait. Now the question is this now. We're so glad that you were able to to merge the two together, and then you gave us the full. Everyone understands this now. Even you understand better, right? So, but what I'm saying is this now, right? So, how do you then define the word power? Power, I mean, power in the hands of the government, in the hands of the authority now. Let's figure that one out first.
Okay.
To you, how do you place that? How do you explain that to people? We've heard power of information now. The definition was clear. So now power now in the hands of the authority now. How do you define that?
Okay, see. Number one, so use the word authority. Now the word authority means someone who is authorized to function in a capacity. How are you authorized to function in a capacity? Normally it's through people coming together, casting votes, so you're elected into power, as it were. But I would like to extrapolate that leadership and authority in a way you can understand it. For you to be placed in a position of authority or authorized, the community or the polity would have vested some level of trust in your leadership. And by so doing, they go in and cast the vote. And since most nations of the earth operate by a democratic system.
So are you saying now, before one is given the power,
yes,
people must have a level of confidence in that.
Now, this is what you need to
Even
understand.
if they don't know him personally.
Now, remember your question was in the context of authority.
Thank you.
You can be someone who's very powerful, but you are not an elected official. Because the word power has to do with influence. See, influence is me getting you to do what I want you to do without necessarily making you do it. I'm not forcing you, I'm not commanding you, I'm not instructing
That's
you.
influence, right? Power
That's
is,
influence.
Power is what we're talking
and
about.
power itself is an effect. See, if I speak to you and you feel some kind of way as a result of what I've told you, at that point in time, I've exercised some level of influence on you. And that influence in itself is called power. See, power in itself is affectation. So when I make an effect, because what I'm saying is having some level of influence on you, so I'm having some level of effect on you. So power, in its core groundest understanding, is having effect on someone by a result of what you communicate with them. When you say something or you write something for them to read, then immediately I have some level of influence on you because I want an outcome as a result of that information I'm pushing. Now remember, I have explained also there are two kinds of power, which is negative and positive. If the information is wrong, which is what we call falsehood, I can use that power and effect a change on you negatively because I have a selfish interest or an end game I want to achieve with that information. And by so doing, I'm able to put you on a trajectory that pans out with what I want. But if I want you to have a general outcome, then I should be able to give you information and let you make the decision. Now, in the context of leadership, leadership is not strength in itself. When you occupy a position as a leader in a community, in a place, even in a family, you are exercising, you are in a place of strength. Okay, let me give you a perfect analogy to this. Beautiful. A car. So a car has an engine. The engine runs in fuel. Any type of fuel it runs in causes the engine to combust. And that immediately, watch this, that immediately has a propulsion or the capacity to propel that vehicle to move forward. But the vehicle will move forward just because it has an engine, just because it's on. You have to change the gear into place, which transmits the power from the engine into the drivetrain. And with that, now you are able to drive. Now, for you to be able to drive, you need strength. Because for you to be able to balance the wheel and the steering, you're exercising strength. But in order for you to accelerate forward, you need power. So now this is what I want to get you to understand in this context. Leaders are people of strength. Have you seen every time there is, like for example, 1st of October, every year the Chinese celebrate the year that the anniversary of the Communist Party coming to power.
They call it Year of Snake or something.
No, those are annual. Those changes every year. Those are their New Years. But I'm talking about the celebration of the Communist Party, because the Communist Party is the primary institution that runs the governance of the Chinese people. Now, when they do that event every year, the premier, who is the chairman or the head of the party, in this case Xi Jinping, stands in their open square. Then you see the soldiers and the people marching. Have you noticed that every time they march past, they call it a show of strength? A show of strength. Why?
Show of strength. Okay.
Because as a commander-in-chief of any polity or a leader or a mayor or a governor, what you exercise is strength. But strength.
So are you saying now? Sorry.
Yes. Come in.
So are you saying now the power we're talking about here doesn't really have that influence like that of strength?
Okay, so
because although we're in my mean we're digressing a little bit.
No, I want to connect it. I want to connect it.
Yeah, because there's a point I'm trying also to arrive at.
Okay.
You understand? And the point is, I want us to get down to, because while I was listening to your podcast, right, when you did the 7 types of elitism,
yes.
right? We're going to get there where you then have to help us just slightly break them down a little bit in just 2 seconds or 4 seconds each, so then we can know which one has more strength and which one has more power.
Okay, this is it.
That's why I said, okay, fine, let's get to power. The word power and information, or power of information.
The reason why I'm connecting both of them is this. When you asked the question, you said...
The sun is really, really hitting my head. Okay, so it's fine. Continue. It's okay.
Remember, you asked the question, those in leadership, how do they have power? And I'm trying to explain to you that the position itself doesn't give them power. It only gives them strength. But men of strength power grab. Now they want to control the information, because they are not necessarily influential without that strength. If a president is powerful, it's because he occupies a place of strength from which he's able to juxtapose and grab power. And that power is the information he uses to regulate what the polity does. That's why when they come to power, the first thing leaders do is to find a way to control the press. Because anything that will throw them in a bad light, they try and block it. And anything that will blow them big as someone who is really doing what he's elected to do, they try and showcase it. In itself, in its core self, you have to understand that governance and leadership is force, and force is strength. That's why people who are in leadership doesn't necessarily ask your opinion when they make decisions on things they need to do. But what they now do is this: they try and control information. Why? Because they want to be influential. Remember, they are individuals who are authorized in order for them to function in a capacity. But for them to be able to do their work effectively, think about it, there are different presidents all over the world. There are presidents today that are highly celebrated, but they don't achieve anything. And simply because the media, they are a darling of the media. Then there are presidents that have also been there, they are never valued, because the media constantly hounds them, constantly criticizes them. So as a result of that, the media is fighting to make sure that that person of strength does not have the influence that he requires in order for his job to be easy in the polity.
All right, sir. Sorry. Okay, fine. So, in a nutshell, though, so what you're saying is that, because the next question I'm going to ask is what you're trying to answer now.
Yes.
So what you're saying is this now, right? I'm coming to that word of the word power.
Yes.
So you just said now, because while you used a moving vehicle as a good example, to say, okay, fine, when you change the gear will give power and blah 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 blah. Okay, so okay, cool. So what you're saying is this, right? Power is a force.
It's not a force. You see, watch the words I use. Every time I use the word strength, I use the word drive, I use the word force. When I use the word power, I use the word information, effect, because at the end of the day, you have to make the decision. But I'm presenting the data in such a way, when you make the decision, it will be the outcome that I want.
Okay, so
that's why it's influence.
So in one line now, what is power to you? In one line.
Power is effect, having effect on people towards a determined end. That's what power is.
Towards a determined end.
Yes.
So which means towards a particular end.
Yes.
That the one who's, because like for instance now, as we're sitting here now, right? Do you want to know one thing, that just the way we've ordered this coffee here now, this white coffee here now, right? Did we use power to get this? And the lady served us with smile all over.
Yeah, we used financial power, because at the end of the day, she knew we were going to pay for it.
Financial power.
Yes.
Then doesn't power have to do with force sometimes? I mean, because look, for instance now, if like in a sane environment, in a sane community, you can't have a sane community without having some little bit kind of power. Because it's only that power that people will be scared of, to know, hey, if I go in contrary to what the people in the authority say, they will use power on me and I'll be punished. So now in that situation,
one word is called control.
So then power is control then?
Power is control. Power is control. But if I give you the liberty to make that decision based on truth, is not control. It's empowerment. I'm just empowering you. So I'm telling you, if you take this decision, this is the end game. If you take this decision, this is the end game. So I present it before you, life and death, plus and minus, negative and positive. But if I already want you to do this exact thing, so that means I have pre-regulated what the outcome must be. And that pre-regulation of outcome means the information I have to give you has to lead you into that rabbit hole.
Perfect.
And that lead you into that rabbit hole is called control. So the people in leadership try and control the polity by regulating the information the people get, and it's called coverage.
What happens in a situation where the politicians come now?
Yes.
They want votes.
Yes.
Like what happened recently in Nigeria.
Yes.
They want vote and all that.
Yes.
Remember, they're not going to use force. Under the constitution, they're not supposed to use force,
yes,
or to even say, please vote for us. Because in a situation where politicians are saying please, that means you don't know what you're doing. Tell people what they want to hear. So in that situation now, where politicians come into to voters, I'm like, okay, we're going to do X, Y, Z. Vote for us. Are they using power there, or they're using persuasion?
Okay.
Or they're using what they call white lies?
Okay.
Because if
you watch the way the modern day politician operates, they always look for dirt on their opposition. And the reason they look for dirt is
because it's a game anyway.
Because they want data regarding that person that will throw negative light on them, wherein the person is forced to now choose them because the opposition clearly shows that he's incapable of mounting that position. That dirt in itself, if it is dirt that is used in a very destructive manner, it's actually falsehood, especially if it's designed to channel people on a certain trajectory. See, if you say, go and look at my history, when I was the leader of so and so place, when I was the executive chairman of so and so company, I did this, I did this, I did this. Go to the company, send reporters, send journalists, let them find out what the company report. When I was the leader, the company grew by 200%. I was able to pay shareholders all this. What are you trying to do? You are trying to project information so that at the end of the day, they can compare him or her to the opponent, to the opposition, and now make a decision in line with that. So choices in itself is what is required in order for you to choose someone.
Thank you. I was getting there because remember, these guys are looking for power.
Yes,
they're looking for power. But what they are looking for power, then there's still something they're using to influence people's mind.
Okay.
That thing they're using is what I'm trying to get from you.
Okay. Remember, the question still boils back to what we said in the beginning. Influence is having an effect. if I have an effect on you, you will take an action. Because power is always targeted to an action. Someone has to act on it.
And those can be in two ways anyway.
I told my wife some time ago, she was talking about someone who was telling me something. I said, see, you would always know the effect someone has on me based on what I do after they've said it. I may listen to you, and listening doesn't mean I will do anything because I have to process that information.
True.
And many a times what people tell me is not what I do. But when you see me taking an action based on what someone tells me, that means they've had some form of effect on me. That effect is called power. Because that's what power is. You've had an effect on me. So now you are literally dictating me, but you are not forcing me.
Okay.
Because I'm still making that decision based on what I want to do.
Okay, so now...
But now you've given me the information, which is the raw material and data that I need in order for me to make that decision. And that's what power is.
Okay, so from your podcast link titled Media Elitists...
Yes.
Yeah.
The 7 types of elitism.
7 types of elitism.
Yes.
Could you please, break them down for us, just in a very short form, what these are, and then how you were able to, to come up with those 7. There's 7 in number.
There are 7.
Thank you. So.
Okay, so our society in itself is broken up into 7.
Sorry, sir. Okay. Because before you go into that, right? I think, Karl Marx said. A society is broken and made up of 3 people in the society.
Okay.
The kings, the soldiers, and the artisans. So Karl Marx said. He said the kings are your leaders and what. The artisans are the people, which might be made up of people of the of the middle class. You understand? And then also the soldiers. Soldiers are the ones. According to him there. So now you came up with, and then that was valid from his own view. You understand? And then I can say probably because he did that because that was back then when he did this. There was no technology, there was no this, there was no that. So now that we're in this era now, maybe we can call you our own Karl Marx of this era now. And then you came up with this 7 sets of people.
7 types.
7 types of people in the society, yes. in the community.
Okay, let me put it like this. Karl Marx is. I don't want to talk about Karl Marx, maybe because he has his own people.
Well, the philosopher and the people.
Yeah, who likes his whatever.
Are you a believer of Karl Marx?
No, he existed. So when you say believer, I know he's a human that existed. But the things he taught were actually wrong. The things that's why his communistic, his Das Kapital. I used to joke many years ago. If you give me an 1800 publication of Das Kapital and you give me a tissue paper, I would take tissue paper over the publication. Because it's not worth it. What he's teaching is, no offense to all his fans, garbage. It's all pure nonsense.
Is it because
it doesn't add up?
So
you see, that's why.
Is it because we're in the modern age now? Because I promise you, man, there's nobody that will say that will go out of university that will not even study Karl Marx in a way.
Okay, let me explain something. Karl Marx originally was a young Jewish boy that grew up in Germany. He went through the vicissitudes of life and eventually came to a place where he saw that the monarchy was a domineering class against the working people. So he had to find a way to balance out what he felt should be the solution to all that he was trying to resolve. But at the end of the day, what he said did not work. Why? Because he ended up bringing about the death of about 50 million people under the former Russian or USSR as of that time. It didn't work. The Chinese, who also adopted it, under Chairman Mao, who was the stooge literally of Karl Marx, he also applied it in China, and history has it that the Chinese lost more than 20 to 40 million people under that system. The system the Chinese run right now, it's not Karl Marx's teaching. The only thing they are running, because you have to understand that it's a financial system, but without drilling deep into that, since that is not our centrality. This is what I want to explain.
The 7 types
the things I teach are eternal. If it was presented in year AD 101, it will work. If you present it in BC 885, it will work. If you present it 10 days after man was created, because I believe God created man, it will work. If you present it in 2023, it will work. It's eternal. It's not subjective to what is the modern day society. See, in this world, everything is layered into 3 and divvied up into 7. Everything in the universe
3
is layered into 3
Namely?
and divvied up into 7.
Those 3 ones, like, I mean, guys, you want to learn, right? And we would like to have that, you know. And then please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, right? And then, you know, if you're really enjoying this, you know, we still have the powerful man himself here, Mr. Mark the Lion. And you know, I hope we're really taking good care of you guys here. So call on ourselves, you know, share these links, you know, tell them, call on your friends, you know, that, you know, something great is happening here. And then, you know, I promise you, man, if you listen and if you watch with an open mind, I promise you, you will learn a lot today. So you just want to, you know, open your mind, because, you know, like they always say, there are two sets of people. There are 2 sets of listeners in this world here. Those who come with their own mindset already, they just want to hear what you want to say, and those who come with an open mind. You understand? So, and I think if you open your mind, well, we're not saying you should unlearn what you know, but just open your mind for new space, for new things to come in there. Maybe you might grab something, right? So now those 3 people, those three layers before we get into the 7 divots.
If I tell you to leave this place now, or let's go, once you slide out of your chair, you can only go 2 directions. Either you go vertical or you go horizontal. You either go up or you go sideways.
Obvious. Or I lie down, or I just stay where I am.
Exactly.
Because not taking an option itself is not an option.
Okay, so first of all, everything in the universe is layered into 3. Number 1, as we are seated here now, the floor where our leg is touching, from that to the core of the earth is 1 layer. Things we can't see.
Wait. Say it again.
We're standing on the ground.
Okay.
From the very place our feet is standing on the floor, all the way to the core of the earth is 1 layer.
Okay.
We call this subterranean.
Subterranean. Okay.
That means everything that exists, but we can't see. It's possible there's a great river.
Are you listening, guys?
It's possible there's a great river flowing under our legs. We don't know. It's possible that 2,000 meters into the earth
there might be volcano under there too.
There could also be. There's subterranean, meaning that our eyes can't see it, but it's there. It's there. There are rocks.
That's the number 2 now, right?
That's number 1.
Number 1. Okay.
Everything we can't see is 1 layer.
Okay.
Then 2nd layer is everything that moves on the earth, that is terrestrial. Everything that moves on the earth is terrestrial. So layer 1 is fixed. It doesn't move. It stays there. It's fixed, literally, right?
Okay.
Except we disquiet it by excavating it. And that's where the treasures are. That's where everything that controls everything is. That's the things that are occurring in life that we don't know what is going on. Okay, then we have the terrestrial. Everything that is moving, the cars are moving, the train is moving, people are walking around, animals are running loose, the dog is barking, everything that is moving is on the ground. That's the 2nd layer.
The topic is still power of information.
Yes.
I hope you're learning. We are giving you some information now. Well, you might have heard of all this we're saying before, or you might not have heard of them before. But what matters the most is that we're sticking to the topic, power of information, and we're trying to share the information. You know, Mr. Mark here is just trying to let us know, you know, that the earth, is it the earth?
Everything beneath the earth that you can't see.
The earth.
Foundational, fundamental.
3.
Yes.
And he said the first one is
everything that is fundamental, everything that is foundational, everything that you can't see. This building has a foundation. We can't see it. We don't know how deep they went when they dug it up, but we know there's a foundation.
And the
That's why we are comfortable that this building won't collapse suddenly, because the beams and the pillars is all sent down to a foundation where it's permanently riveted to stones and rocks and concrete. Foundational. It dictates everything in the universe. It keeps everything in place. Number 2, everything that moves on the surface.
Okay.
That's the 2nd layer.
That's human beings and then
Animals and all. Everything that can be animated. Movement, activity, they are all on the 2nd layer. Then we have the 3rd layer. The third layer is everything that is in the air.
That you but you can't see, right?
You can see it. The bird is flying in the air. He's in the third layer.
Isn't that supposed to be part of the first one?
No.
That we can see.
He's not part of the first, he's not part of the second. Remember, I used the word terrestrial. So to be terrestrial, you have to move, you have to be grounded on the earth. But once you take up in the skies, immediately, you have gone airborne. At that point in time, you're in the third layer.
So the witches are also part of that.
So now, what?
Did you hear what I said? Though?
No, I didn't hear you.
I said, so the witches are also part of that. Because they fly.
Yeah, but they are in the spiritual realm. They don't use their physical body.
So they should be part of the third set, right?
The first layer.
Oh.
Because they are in the unseen realm. So when they move through the ethereal realm,
Do you also believe in witches too?
I do, but let's stay on subject.
No, wait. I just want to pick your brain. Do you believe in witchcraft?
Yes, there are witches. There are people who project out of their body using their spirit, their spirit to do that. And when they do their havoc, they come back to their body and wake up and get out.
They don't see it as havoc. They see it as fun. When they hurt other people, I think they see it as fun.
Yeah, but the output is havoc. And now we're even in this subject. Let me even tell you what they do is actually power. What they do is power because they are powerful people.
Bully.
What they do is power. But that power is destruction. Okay, now, if that's the three layers, so let me slice power into three.
Okay.
Can I slice power into three very quickly?
Let's go.
Because it's layered.
Good.
The first layer of power that has an effect on people is called text.
Text. T-E-X-T.
Yes, T-E-X-T. Text.
The text we write.
Yes, remember power is information.
Inscriptions, you mean?
Remember power is information.
Okay.
And I said information has influence on you.
Okay.
It has an effect on you. Text is the first under-base layer of power. The second layer of power is sound.
Shouldn't sound come first?
No. Text is for the depths. Text is beneath, is on a vibration that is lower than sound. Then the third type of power, which is information, is light.
So we have text, sound, light.
Yes. So,
okay.
The search engine called Google is a text crawling giant. They have crawlers that indexes information. And when you go on Google and type in information requesting an outcome, they serve you what they have deemed the right and perfect information based on the key request you have made. By so doing, they have just given you data in order for you to take actions in line with. And as a result, Google is one of the most powerful companies on the earth.
Search engine.
Because it's a search engine. But they give you text. Okay.
Okay, so then if Google, let's say if searching for power or searching for information is power, then if we're on search engine, you only use the word text there.
Yes.
There's no sound.
Yes. You don't need sound for text. You don't need sound for search to do a search. I know there's a transcript for people who can speak, people who have a problem listening or hearing and all that, or people who are impaired or who are disabled. But text is text. Now, the other group of people in text is the newspaper publications. They give you information, but that information is text.
And it might be right or wrong then.
Yes. Remember, we're not talking about the left or the right. We're not talking about the right or the wrong. We're just saying the layers.
We're talking about information.
We're talking about information, and I've just layered it. The first layer of information is text. The second layer of information is sound.
Sound. How so?
And one of the primary institutions that are regulating sound today are the social media. Because in word of mouth, communication, saying something, you hear this one, producing videos, listening to what is being told you, what that person is saying down the street, is transmitting information to you. And that information transmission in itself is powerful because it's having an influence on you in order for you to take action. That's it. So let's go to the third. The third is light. And what is light? Light in this context is you being able to receive information in the mind by the reason of the visual representation. Images. And that image in itself is carrying information.
Okay.
And that information will cause you to take an action. Okay, let me give you a simple, let me round it off with this analogy. Think about it. There was a time we used to watch television, and when you watch television or you watched a movie, you didn't need the subtext. You didn't require it. You didn't desire it. It was not a problem. Why was that the case? Simply because we just depended on sound and the visuals. But over time, some of us became so good at it that now when we watch movies, we want the subtext. Why? Because when the text is printed under, even though it's closed captioning for those who are impaired, but now fully functional humans like us would like to have those things running through. As it's running through, do you know that our inner being is reading that data? Simultaneously, our body is receiving the sound. So the vibration of the words that are coming out of the television is hitting our body. And simultaneously, the picture, the phone, the television is relaying images, which is hitting our soul. So, the text hits our spirit. The vibration, which are the words of information, hits our body. And the light, which is the visual representation from the screen on your phone or your television, is impacting your soul.
Thank you.
The mind.
Now.
So three of them are being struck at the same time, and it's all designed to enhance you because it's actually having an effect on you.
That's a fair explanation anyway, because at least now anybody can easily follow the way you.
Yes.
So one can easily even telegraphically. How do I put it now? I can even picture it in my head. Okay, fine. Well, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does.
So now the thing is now we're going to the 7 types of people now in a society.
Okay.
The
So
7
now,
elites, as you stated them in your podcast.
Yes, I will go through them. Now,
The first one.
Now, before I mention the first one, let me lead with this. Now that we've been able to go horizontal and we have been able to layer it 1, 2, 3. Now let us go vertical. Wherein now we are talking about the 7 compartments. Now, think about it.
Sorry guys, there's an aeroplane moving up there, and that's why you can hear a bit of distortion in the audio, but it's okay. It's part of it anyway. It's life. It's natural anyway. Continue, sir.
Okay, so there are 7 dimensions to life. I also call it compartments. Without dealing with
We're talking about the 7 types of
yes, and it's from there I'm going to give you the
people,
information.
right? Okay.
Because there are 7 dimensions or 7 compartments to life in itself. Everything in this life is sliced up or divvied up into 7, but it's sideways. Remember, stacking is layered 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So in that 7, the first group in this life, and everyone can relate to this, is family. Family. The second is the arts and entertainment. The third is governance, leadership. The fourth is media, which is where our power and information
do you know why I like these guys? Because we are catching him so unaware now. Because as you can see in his presence, in his front here, there's nothing written here. He's just saying everything offhand. Because he's the author of that in a way. So at least and it's very easy like that. So sorry about that. If you guys say if there might be some some chronological misorder in a little bit, but it's okay because everything is coming from the mind now, and it's only human anyway. So we're on number 4 now, which is media.
Number 4 is media.
Okay.
Number 5 is religion.
And if you want that link, if you want to view that, so also we're also going to paste the link in the information of the podcast in the information there, so you can follow that too, so you will know the kind of, so you understand what we're talking about here very well. Guys, that information is powerful and captivating. Once you hear the first word, the first utterance in that podcast, I promise you wouldn't want to leave again. But well, let's hear him break it down for us here, right? We can see him there, right? But there is just an audio, so you might not really see him, but this is the man behind that. All right. So continue number 5.
Okay,
sir.
so number 5
Sorry, I'm cutting you
is
a little
religion.
bit because we need to carry.
Yes, we need to carry the audience along. The 5th one is religion.
Religion.
Then the 6th is education.
Education. Okay.
And the 7th is the economy. There is no other thing. Everything, I dare you mention anything whatsoever, and I place it in one of these 7s.
Okay. Thank you for that, though. You know, and in that podcast, I saw we see that you placed more emphasis on the media elites because you said that's the one that.
Let me answer without overriding. Let me answer the question you asked before this one. So in the context of these 7 dimensions, under family, the leadership, or should I say the top, the cream of families is the monarchies and the royal families. And every nation, irrespective of if they are in governance or not, every nation has some form of royalty, the blue-blooded. So that is the elites. So we call them the elites because they are the ones who say we are the enlightened class and we are the top of the cream of this group.
How do you think those came to be? I mean, the elite class. How do you think they came to be? Some people were before you start. Yes. Some people came. Some people said those elites came because they were the first people in
who
that,
arrived.
You understand?
Who arrived in that place? Yes.
That's
why it's called first family.
Another school of thought say it is the most powerful
ones who are able to subdue others. And,
you understand?
And make yes.
And because if you look at the US that we have now, right? They keep saying the Native Americans are the Indians.
Yes.
And yet you rarely find the Indians among the leaders there. So which is why I'm asking you the question now. To you now, what do you think makes up, well, and I know that the other school of thought that we didn't mention, please pardon us if we didn't mention your favorite. So what do you think, makes up that class, that elite class? Is it because they are wealthy? Is it because they came first?
No, not necessarily.
They're the most powerful? Is it because, they know how to talk? To you now, what do you think makes up that?
Now, okay, so let's put it like this. Every animal, every vertebrate has a head and a tail. The head leads, the tail follows. No animal leads with the tail. So the head is usually where the think tank is, that's where the brain is, that's where the consciousness is, that's where the decisions are made, and that's where the head leads, right? So now, in every society, which I've just explained that in our world, there are 7.
7, yeah.
And each of them have people who have risen to the top.
We are on the elite side.
And some rose to the top because of their finances. Some rose to the top because they were stronger than others. Some rose to the top because they were more cerebral, more educated, more, Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I would ask that is because I don't know if you've come across this video where this other guy was asking a question. Why do you think the lion is the king of the jungle? If it's in terms of strength, elephant is stronger.
Yes. Even the ox.
You understand?
The bull.
If it's in terms of we have the blue whale.
Very simple.
If it's in terms of speed, it's cheetah.
Very simple answer. The lion is the king of the jungle because of his voice.
Well, some people say, that's not what most people follow. Most people think they say he is so because that is his decision, because that is his mindset. Like truly, yes, that is his mindset. Because if it's for his voice, I promise you there are a lot of lions there are a lot of animals that are louder than lion. You understand what I'm saying? So I think they say it is because of his decision.
Okay, let me explain something.
If that is not the case, then how do the elites now come to that decision? It means
okay, I will hit that, then I'll hit this. Number one, I don't think I resolve. Resolve means the information I give you has to be correct.
Has to be correct.
Has to be. It must be correct. What makes the lion the king of the jungle is his roar. Period. Is his roar. the size and the weight of the elephant is massive. The strength of the wild ox is amazing. The speed of the cheetah is unbelievable. But why does the lion rule? Because of his voice. That's why when the lion is coming, he roars. I watched a documentary one time where a lion was crossing a territory to another territory. And he needed to cross a river. And when he came to the river, he roared through as he went. Why was he roaring? Because he was telling the crocodiles, hey, it is me.
I'm the one coming.
I'm the one crossing up in here. And no crocodile dared to come close to it until he crossed the river and got to the other side. Because that's what it has.
But we just said
now that roar
in terms of strength,
is power. And that's why the lion is the most powerful creature in the jungle.
Everyone.
Because of his decibels, because of his reverberation, of his vocals, when he emits that sound. When animals hear a lion roaring, there is a response, there is an effect it has in them. It strikes some level of fear in them, even if they are massive and they are big. See, I love the fact that you mentioned the lion because it ties perfectly into that which we are talking about today. So you must understand this. You ask the question,
Elites.
So how do you get to the top? How do you...
Elites.
Some get to the top because they have resources, because that's what they require in that world. For example, in economy, investment, those who manage the funds, those who we call them the funding elites, those who are into investments and all that, they usually have a lot of money. And that's why when they are in the back room negotiating millions and billions of rand or dollars of deals, they listen to them because the first thing they ask is, what's the size of his portfolio? So when companies like BlackRock shows up on the table, everyone in the financial field move out for them to come through. Why? Because it's a multi-trillion-dollar institution. So it's correct for you to say that BlackRock has a high level of elitist control over the financial market.
Wow.
Simply because they have
power,
because they have. That's what I'm trying to say. Because they have financial power. But remember, if it's financial, then it's economic. Now, if we come...
Wait, you see, now you just said something like financial power.
Yes.
You didn't say financial strength.
Yes. Now, the reason why...
You understand why I said so?
Okay,
because from your previous... when we started...
I mentioned that term.
You mentioned
I used it.
You understand?
Yes.
So
now,
I'm just surprised why you're not saying the word financial strength this time. And instead you're saying financial power.
To be honest with you, the key word there is finances. Power is just something I borrowed to come and help us transmit words. You see, when I speak, I resolve. So every word means something. But to you, you don't see it like that. You just are communicating.
No, I'm following.
You are following. But what I'm trying to say is that the audience are used to saying something like, okay, like
because for people who are just joining us now, I promise you, man, who might not really.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let us say I see someone come now and say, this man is a man of substance. If I say this man is very weighty, he's carrying a lot of weight, he throws a lot of cloud in this society, what will come to your mind?
Of course, economically financially is there. Because that is what speaks louder.
Because that's the way we use the language. But the man's weight is determined by what he knows.
Well, before people know what somebody knows, they want to see what you have. They want to see what you possess first.
You can be one of the most educated people on the earth, but you may not own anything. And yet, in that world, you would dominate. You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
If we're in the world of people who want to learn. Yes. I promise you now, can you not see the way the world is going now?
Yes.
People don't want to learn anything anymore. All they just want to do is just have fun and watch TikToks, watch people that are trekking and what. Now, this we're saying now, right? I promise you, only few people will want to sit down and watch because this is making a lot of sense. But so if we're talking about a man of wealth, of knowledge, and a man of wealth of financial wealth.
Okay.
I think you're speaking to two different worlds.
Okay, so let me give you a quick overview.
Ladies will tell you, hey, a man with money is way better than a man with knowledge to me.
Okay, now watch this.
That's what matters to them.
Let me do now a summary because I want to answer that question before we get tied up in any other. Let me answer that question. So number one, under the families the head and the leadership of families is normally called the blue bloods, the royals, or the monarchs. Under that rule, those who are normally at the helm of monarchical rule in nations of the earth are usually those that are believed to be the first family, meaning that they arrived there first. May not be the case, but most likely they've been there for a long time. That family has been there for generations. And at times they might just be a very small group of family, but they will be the ruling class. Okay, let's go to number 2, arts and entertainment. The most talented and the most gifted who eventually become the producers and the directors in that world are those who determine what will be produced there. They regulate the talent, they hire the talent, they pay the talent, they write the script, they regulate those who write the scripts for that production.
They're in charge of entertainment.
Yes. So when you go to Hollywood, there are those who determine. So when you go to MGM, you go to all these large institutions that produce movies, you find out that there are people who regulate what type of content comes out every year. That's the elite of that world. Then we come to governance. Those who are elected into power, wrong word. Those who are elected into rulership of strength for the polity are usually those who have that strength. And those are the people who, as it called. Now, I know we use that word a lot. We like to label people in leadership as people who are powerful. But if we want to go by the strict rules of resolving, they are people of strength. They have strength. Governance is strength. They are the commander-in-chief. Now we come to the educational elites. These are individuals who claim to be the brightest.
Isn't education supposed to come as the second? Because, like someone defined education, they said education is the process of learning from the day you were born till you die. Because we've been learning from the day, and that's the best.
Most of what we learn when we are kids come by intuition. So we pick it up by observation, but it's not being taught us practically. Because if you keep a child around, he runs around with his siblings. He sees the way they open their mouth. He sees what they say. Gradually, he watches television, watches cartoons. He begins to pick out and grab everything and begin to form their vocabulary with that. That's not literally taught like in a classroom.
Number 7.
Now, education is classroom. So there are people who feel that they know more than every other person. Or should I say they are the smartest. We call them the enlightened class. You've also heard the term the Illuminati. It also comes from that idea that someone is more illuminated and more enlightened. So it's more exposed, it's more developed. So it's more conditioned. As a result of that, they are the educational elites. So finally, it's the economic elites, and those are the funding class. And those are the ones who control, they invest in all the big corporations, they regulate, what choices are made in places because they bring the resources. It's one thing for you to have an idea, so another thing for you to get the funders who can be around that idea.
Now, in order for everyday layman there, for everyday person there to understand and assimilate this thing clearly, though. So now I want us to just go back again,
yes.
just 1 minute again, to then say, okay, fine. If you want to use South Africa, it's fine. If you want to use Nigeria, it's fine. If you want to use the whole world, it's fine.
Yes.
To say, okay, fine, because when you mentioned the last one, which is economic elite now,
Wall Street.
The person I see there, Wall Street, and the person I see there is Dangote.
Yes, in Nigeria context.
You understand?
It's one richest
and
man
then you understand.
in
So
Africa
now,
and in the world.
Let's go back again now. So, number 1, who are the people in our era here that are in that situation?
No, but it's obvious. You just mentioned like a Dangote in Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm saying the number one, which is economy. No. That's
number 1 is royal elite.
Royal elites.
Now he's not part of the monarchic class. We have our rulers and the obas and the chiefs and the emir, and all those are the people. So those are the people who represent, and really their communication is deference,
Number 2,
respect.
Let's go to number 2,
which is honor.
Number 2.
So now we come to the Hollywood class, for example. In Nigeria, the Nollywood. In India, the Bollywood. Whoever the top institutions that produce content, they are the ones that are regulating everything.
Number 3.
The number 3 is whoever is the president of the nation, or the governor of the nation, or the mayor of the community. He's the one that is regulating.
Number
as the
4.
elite. Number 4, like now in South Africa, if you look at all the institutions that have the television stations, SABCs and the types of our world in this context, they are the ones that are regulating what information is being put out there and how to in short, they are the ones who regulate what is a scandal and what is not. If they say this is not a scandal, it won't be a scandal. If they say this is a scandal, they will blow it big, cover to cover.
So you're talking of the Broadcasting Corporation.
Yes.
That's still an arm of government anyway. Because
no, it's not.
It's an arm of government.
How did you vote them in?
Because the government puts them there. You understand what I'm saying?
No, the government don't put them there. If it's a government parastatal, so is it, for example, the government arm, like the way like the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. So government has an influence on them because government would always try. I've said it. Government would always try and juxtapose power with strength because in order for them to control the people, they need to make sure they have a grip hold. That's why in the American Constitution there's liberty of information, which they call the right to express yourself and say what you want to say, and all that. And all that is preserved in their Constitution.
Fourth Amendment.
Yes, the Fourth Amendment, right? Okay, so it's preserved in our Constitution.
Thank you. So which is what I'm saying. Okay, fine. Now let's go to number 5.
Yeah, which is the religious elite.
Religious elite.
So the established institutions. Now, in this modern day, now we have some institutions that are more like the evangelicals or the Pentecostals.
Can is in charge.
Yeah,
of Nigeria,
like a Nigerian
Christian
Association.
And then
so whatever they say in the context of Christianity has a major influence in that group. Then if you go to places in the north where the Islamic religion rules, you see that they not just because the
I think Emir of Kano, no, Sultan of Sokoto,
yes,
is seen as the highest in the Islamic world in Nigeria.
Okay, so he has
and the traditional part.
Yes.
Do you know the traditional part?
Yeah, the tradition is family. Tradition is family. Tradition is in the royal. Is in royal. It's
I'm talking about the traditional religion.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, you say you're talking about the traditional religion
Do you
itself.
know any of those guys?
I don't.
Those guys are there.
They've lost. Yeah, the traditional worshippers are no more. They don't have the numbers anymore. There are people who go to traditional powers to get help or whatever. But many of those things are done in the dead of the night, in the dark. So there are not people who come out and say they are the spokesman.
They have secret a lot.
Yeah, they are secretive to a large.
Okay, so and
religion is secretive to a large extent. Most of what is done in religion is secretive.
I was going to get that because if you look at many things, they will you will not understand.
Yes.
And then
Yeah, most of religion is secretive, so it's right there. So yes.
All right, cool. So the number 6
is education.
Education.
So like in our world today, like the Harvards, the Oxfords. When these schools are mentioned, immediately, there's a cloud that comes up. If you say, no, let's introduce this man, he's a Harvard-trained lawyer, he trained in this, he went to Princeton from there, he went to Yale from there, immediately your response changes. Why? Because he has the backing of some of the largest and most prominent educational facilities on the planet.
Who puts them there? They still work for government.
Ivy League.
No, the Ivy League school. No, the government is not the one who put them there. Normally they have a board. Every institution have a board and they have the way they put those in leadership there.
Okay, fine. And then the number 7?
So the last but not the least is the economy. Of course, Wall Street is in America, and you come to many places like in South Africa here in Sandton, we have the Investec and some of the larger institutions that put in a lot of money in different companies and they regulate who is invested in what and how it's being invested. So they are the elites, they control the money markets. They tell you when it's time, whether you should invest in this or that or whatever. And
that now brings us now to the second phase of
so last but not the least, if you want to really know about these elites, please check the link below.
Check the link below. You will definitely get it there, man. Yeah. Guys, I promise you, man, you have a lot to learn from that. Honestly speaking, and then once you finish watching this and then you listen to that, so come back here and tell us what you feel.
Yes.
Tell us what you feel. I promise you won't have anything to fault there because everything, it works with your brain. It works with your brain. Well, the way he did it, well, I don't know, but well, we must just give him a big round of applause, man. He really treated it well, and then you can easily follow it. The first time I listened to that link there, I was listening to it in my car. I couldn't just move away. A call came through. I dropped it. I was like, I'm listening to this though, and I promise you guys, you will enjoy it anyway. Okay, so now that's the part. Now, so now we've spoken about the power of information. Now, in 1 minute now, the power of information. is the question now. Because look, remember the reason I asked you to let's list people in our day-to-day life now.
Yes, because you want us to relate
it
what we are dealing with every single day and where do they fit.
Thank you.
I remember I said something to you earlier. I said, I dare you to mention any industry, any person in any context, and I'll place you in one of the 7. There is nothing outside the 7. Nothing. Everything fixes somewhere. Exactly perfect.
Exactly perfect. So, but what I'm saying here is this now, right? Now we have power now, and we have information, and everything sits inside them, because the most pivotal part of that, all these 7 here now, seems to be like the media elite, yes. Because they are the ones that disseminate information. They are the ones that feed us with rubbish.
Potentially, they are the most dangerous class.
And my question here is this, right? The one with power controls the type of information we have. Do you object to that?
Yes.
And why?
Power in the 7 is power, and power itself is like fire. It's like a flame, and it's easy for it to get out of hand. When people influence you a certain way, they can literally drive the narrative and get people to. They tell you who to hate. Do you know that? They tell you who to like. They tell you what to accept, and they tell you what is. They tell you what is good and what is bad. In short, the way my life is today now, when the media loves someone, I'm always scared of them, and the media hates someone, I'm attracted to them, because I know the media is not on my side. They have become so powerful. Remember, we say absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the media is extremely powerful and at the same time extremely corrupt.
But now, these days, the media doesn't really have all the power they used to have before. Have you noticed?
What you are saying is that legacy media, mainstream media, don't have the absolute hold on power anymore.
On the information anymore.
Yes.
Like they used to. Because I tell you now, everywhere you go these days now, you see everybody now, and then it looks like they all trained for they were all trained for it. They will get you the nice angle and what, and then you get the full information.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at the case of Shewani Kulapo Kuti that slapped the policeman now. Well, if there was nobody sitting in his car who recognizes Shew, who recognizes Shew's face, then maybe we could just hear it and we wouldn't really know how things
would happen.
And then, that worked to his disadvantage, because I promise you, his family member wouldn't have done that. You understand? So somebody who was just a passerby, just sitting in the car, was like, "Wow, this is Shew," and then look at that. Because if we were to wait for NTA or any national television authority to come over and quickly just cover it, I doubt we will get that. Plus, it happened on the 3rd mainland bridge in Nigeria. So, which means the power, even before now, even in the early 80s or the late 90s, that the government used to have, they still couldn't cover everywhere.
Okay, let me just explain. Remember, I told you that power in itself is divided into 3. We have the print media, we have the social media, which comes into the 2nd and the 3rd. Now, in the old days, when a king or those in rulership or leadership wanted people to gather in the square or anything, what do? They send out a man who's the town crier. He hits a bell and he says, by tomorrow by 4 p.m., everyone will be required to show up in the king's palace, blah, blah, blah. All that information is disseminated generally. But if you notice, how many people are in the square when he's actually saying that? Maybe just a few in the marketplace. But by the end of the day, by 2, exactly, this one will tell this one, tell this one. It's called word of mouth. So social media is word of mouth. The only thing that is happening in our age now is that the expansion of word of mouth has gone to a place where it is now competing with the legacy media, which is in the height, which is in the 3rd layer. So the 2nd layer now has gained traction because everyone is a cameraman now. Your phone is a camera. Anyone can pull up anything and catch a George Floyd or any situation and blow it big.
Boom. George Floyd. Because we're not going to finish this topic until we, get to this last episode.
And we have to do a separate episode where we just zero in on this specifically.
Yeah.